Hello guys, it's Tom here from the WB Trading team, and on today's video I want to cover what it really takes to begin as a trader. So I'm not going to go into detail, we're not going to be talking about things like strategy rules, what markets you should trade. What I want to cover are really the basics, So we're going to talk about, planning out a trading journal. We're going to talk about understanding risk, setting up a broker. So essentially whatever strategies, whatever markets you want to look at, doesn't have to be anything to do with WB trading, you're going to be able to hit the ground running. It's sometimes, these elements that I see traders miss, they jump in with strategies, they try to trade without learning the basics. So I think it's going to be really useful just to find out what you're going to need just to get started. Just very quickly before we dive in, if you're still struggling with your trading, or you'd like to know more about how mechanical edges are traded, I've put together a free video course for you that will map out and explain everything in detail, along with walking you through exactly how the mechanical rules actually work. If you'd like to watch that after this video, I'll pop a link in the description. You can click through and you can watch that straight away. Now, these areas I'm going to talk about in the video aren't in any real particular order. They're just the basics that I think you need to get in place before you want to start looking at learning any strategies, finding any traders to work with, for example. They're simple things that everybody can do, and as I said, they're going to cover you whatever strategies, whatever type of trading you want to pursue. So yeah, hopefully, you'll have come across a few of these before. Maybe some will surprise you. Regardless, they're all going to be absolutely vital. The first thing we'll need is basically a PC setup. So whether it's going to be a desktop or a laptop, we're going to need to decide what we're going to trade off, what we're going to use for our journals potentially, but the key thing is accessing a broker's platform. And the only way to do that is through a computer. So the reason I mention, a PC or a laptop is quite a few traders will often ask me, Tom, can we start trading, on your phone? Can you start trading on a tablet? In general, the short answer is no. I think that to get a good experience and really to remove some of those roadblocks, you need to be trading on something that's going to give you a bit more flexibility than a tablet or a phone is going to. That really limits your ability to trade. It also limits your ability to journal, to review your trades. So yeah, I think in general, you need to have that set up first. Now, it doesn't have to be something super powerful. You don't need 5 or 6 screens. A simple laptop will do. A lot of traders that I know that have been trading for quite a few years just use a laptop. So it's important that you don't overthink this and go, I'm going to need something ridiculous to start trading. Let's try and walk before we can run here. So as long as you've got yourself a simple setup like that, it's going to allow you to access broker platforms and access maybe some software that's going to help you to journal and review, that is the first step that we need to make. Once that step's complete, now we're in a position to say, okay, let's pick a broker, get some experience on their platform, and get a plan in place to start recording our trades. Now, there are loads of great brokers out there. If you've watched one of our previous videos, say on Introduction to IG, or the TradingView introduction, or even if you've watched our recent FAQ video, there isn't one broker that we recommend. There are some really good ones. Personally, I use IG, but I think it's important to find one that works for you. Test a few demo accounts. They cost nothing to set up. Just find out if the broker's platform works. They can all be accessed, or at least the vast majority can be accessed just over, like an internet browser. Load up their desktop application, have a look if it's the right fit. And that's a big step out of the way because you want a broker that you're going to be able to use efficiently. As I mentioned, the next step is then to have a look at getting a journal set up. Now, this might seem tedious. You might think, why do I need to do this, Tom, before I even started to look at actually placing any trades? If you get this right to start with, it's going to be so much easier than trying to add it in at a later date. Trust me, I've gone through with plenty of traders that have traded for years. They've never used a journal, and then to try and add one into their trading, they just don't like it. So get it right from day one. Now, it doesn't have to be anything fancy. There's plenty of software out there, for traders that really want to get their teeth stuck into it. But honestly, a simple spreadsheet, using something like Excel, like Google Doc, like Numbers, that's going to be fine. Have some straightforward columns for all the entry criteria, mark on the time and the date you entered your trades, go through like that. We've got some videos on the channel that talks through how to journal in a little bit more detail, but the important thing is to get that set up and get used to using it. Even when you start to just demo trade, it's so important. It will save you so much hassle later on. Once those two steps are out of the way, the next thing is, it's a pretty small thing, but it's going to be absolutely vital. Probably the most important thing. Now, if you've watched some of the videos on the channel, you'll have heard us go on about this before, certainly. But it's the risk management side. Have a plan in place. Understand how your risk management is going to work. We recommend, using the 1% rule, 1% of your total account risked on every trade. Doesn't have to be that. I think it's good. I know a lot of traders that use it, certainly, but have a consistent rule in place. Honestly, put it somewhere physical that you can see. Write it on a piece of paper or on a whiteboard or something near where you're going to trade. Have that noted down. It's so important. It's going to protect you as a trader more than anything else to follow through that rule. And it's important to have that in place, again, from day one. So you don't go into some trades, placing 5-10%, risking far too much. I know it's going to sound really simple, and you might say, Tom, I'm going to get on with that. Don't worry about that. That's fine. I'll get started on a few trades, then I'll really get into my risk management. No. It needs to happen right now, basically. After you've done setting up your broker platform, setting up your journal, this is the next thing to do. After this, the next step is then really form a trading plan. What I mean by that is we need to understand, what we're doing throughout the week. What times are you going to be trading? What times, are you going to be reviewing your trades? Are you going to be back testing any of that? So it's important to have that in place. Don't overwhelm yourself. Don't try and push and say I'm going to be trading for 9 hours a day and then I'm going to do another couple of back testing hours afterwards. That's probably not feasible when you're starting. And for most traders anyway, that's not feasible. Have a good structured plan in place, but don't forget any of those steps. And important to give yourself some time just to learn and adapt. So, starting off slower, there's nothing wrong with that. Getting used to it. I often say to traders, spend more time actually learning than live trading to start with. And yeah, I think that really pays off in the long run. At this point, you're probably thinking, Tom, when are we actually going to be able to start to trade? And I understand that totally. And I've had that conversation with a lot of traders over the years. I think the last few things you need to do, firstly, trading can be very difficult because of the terminology. And I think that a lot of experienced traders, we don't help out by trying to use overly complex terms. Certainly, I've gone through videos on YouTube, I've gone through trading guides, and they're not designed to confuse newer traders, but I certainly think that creeps in. So either, and this could be with a mentor or just, spending time to look through, get some of those trading terminology basics down. A lot of brokers have quite good guides on their websites. At IG, for example, they do like a trading academy. You can learn some of the basics. You can learn some of the terms. I think that's a really good place to start before jumping in, because you're only going to have to go back and start to understand those terms eventually. At this point, I would say, if you've gone through those steps, you're really close to be able to sit down and start looking for strategies and learning them. And this point's really a optional one. I think that it helps a lot of traders, but it's not vital. It's going to be finding somebody to help you learn to trade. So finding a mentor, I would say speaking to most traders that come to work with us, they've been through other mentors before. Either, it hasn't worked for various reasons, but if I look at my own experience, I saved myself, I would say years really, by having somebody to bounce ideas off, just to learn those things that it's difficult to find some of the information off them with trading. It's difficult to know where to look and where to get those answers to some of the questions. And if you find someone who's obviously been through it before, to me, some of the questions I get, fairly straightforward, but I can understand that for newer traders, you'd just be completely lost off. So, as I said, it's not 100% required. It saved me a lot of hassle. The majority of traders I speak to, it saved them a lot of time and energy. I think it's something important to look at and consider. But either way, kind of moving on to the last step now. And the final step is we need to start learning a strategy or multiple strategies. I always encourage traders when they're new to start off with just one. And, a lot of traders fall into the trap of strategy hopping around. But there is something to be said with the fact that it's good to find the trading style that works for you. Do you want to be trading intraday? Do you want to be trading on, those 5-minute, 10-minute, even 1-minute charts? Or do you want to be more of a long-term swing trader? Do you want to be taking daily positions or every few hours? That just comes with experience. You're going to find that out over time. Again, as I said on the previous point, finding somebody who's been through that, that can only help. But if you don't go down the route, it's important to remember, don't try and force yourself into a trading style that you're not going to feel comfortable with. Everybody can struggle to start with learning, but I can remember those feelings certainly when I tried certain markets, certain styles of trading. It just didn't click for me. And you can be going down a lot of dead ends there. But at this point, if you've gone through all the previous steps, this is really the point to say, okay, I've got my fundamentals down. I can start to look at learning and developing a strategy. Now, this is obviously the main point for traders. This is really what you want to be working towards. And we've got a lot of videos on our channel here about how our strategies work. If you book a call with us, we'll certainly talk through how we found the strategies, how we developed them, and also, cover a bit of mechanical trading. But whichever sort of trader you look at, you speak to, or you just look through other YouTube channels, this is really going to be the focus. And once you get these beginning steps out of the way, it's going to save you a lot of back and forward in the future. But this is almost where kind of that real work begins. As I said, for more information on how we work our strategies, we've got a lot of content there. You just flick through some of the other videos to see, or as I said, book a call with one of the team will explain. But whichever route you go down, it's important to remember these earlier steps. I wanted to really make that clear to newer traders before you jump in. And I've just seen that over the years of experience, going through with plenty of traders who started out with just saying, okay, I'm going to learn a strategy, I'm going to jump right in. They forget those basics and they never come back to them. And they start making mistakes in areas that could have easily been solved if you'd follow these steps to start with. So I'm really hoping today's video has helped, guys. If you are a newer trader, or you may be at one of these stages, maybe you've done a few of these things, but you've missed out a couple. Hopefully that's given you the impetus to go back, have a look, and just get that prepared. I mean, if you have already started demo trading, you've picked up a few strategies, it's by all means not too late. These are the things to go back and catch now. It's the best time to do them is right now. Whichever stage you're at. If you are beginning though, these are things that if I went back and started again, I wish I'd started on these areas. So with that being said, everyone, thank you very much for watching as always. Any questions, drop them in the comments. As I said, want to book a call with one of our team, find out how our strategies work. The links are below as well. And I'll catch you on the next video, guys.